Hello, my name is Michelle, and I am doing a cultural presentation called Spread Your Words. This presentation is about the spreading of information in pop culture, and it includes the definition of culture and pop culture as a whole, an interaction approach which is carried out through newspapers and technology, and the way another functional approach causes news to tie organizations together. This presentation also includes the way that news and information is more preferable to works of art nowadays, using the critical approach to pop culture. And lastly, the presentation includes why information is important for youth. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, let's first start by defining culture. What is culture? A culture is the shared customs, activities, and beliefs of a group of people. It is symbolic, meaning that there are certain symbols affiliated with the culture that share certain meanings. One example is the thumbs up, which has the worldwide meaning of good. Culture is also constructed by society in embodied forms. In other words, society encompasses physical things such as activities, food, and products to combine into a shared culture. Now, let's continue to pop culture. Pop culture is a type of culture shared by the masses or most people of society. It also involves activities that are well known and liked by most of society, and easily recognizable. And not just activities, but also, I forgot to put here, not just activities, but also products and media. It also includes music, fashion, nonverbal gestures, and more. Thus, one can say that pop culture is symbolically constructed because products and entertainment are gestures that represent the current pop culture as well as encompassing it, since audiences consume media and popular culture as collective activities for others. Physical infrastructures such as power grids and transportations have more and more advanced technology because the needs of society change over time. Social infrastructures such as schools and hospitals also adapt based on the needs and changes of society, and their needs also affect the needs the society holds and thus have an influence of pop culture as well. As you could see, most of the fate of pop culture is determined by its physical and social systems, which accommodate the needs that a society has. Whether something fits what society needs determines whether it is a part of pop culture or not. Thus, one can say that pop culture is socially constructed, since the needs that are tied to society, including the ones related to physical and social infrastructures, determine the fate of our cities. Thus, those needs determine what society likes and wants, and thus determine the fate of pop culture. Since pop culture is caused by the wants and needs of society as a whole, we need to know what those needs and wants are to determine what pop culture is. One important way we do this is through the receiving and sending of information. To support this, in this book, David Grazian identifies pop culture using an interaction approach, which emphasizes word of mouth and the peer interest and influence as the primary role in deciding pop culture. Let's continue. Sorry, have a little cold here. One important way that society sends and receives information is through newspapers. Because newspapers are widespread, they will remain in circulation. Newspapers are delivered in multiple locations and multiple platforms. Thus, no matter where you go, there are newspapers. Since the newspapers are so widespread, no matter how much technology dominates, it would be very hard for the newspapers to die down. There are always going to be more somewhere else. Furthermore, newspapers are also convenient. Receiving newspapers, rather than going on the website for the news, can also save time for certain people and keep them involved. For example, people that have zillions of other priorities other than the news, or may have busy schedules, might not necessarily have ample time to sit at a computer and search a website for the purpose. Thus, it would be convenient for them to pick up a printed newspaper on the way to what they're already doing, such as work. Since digital media has replaced the print industry, we would think that the print industry most definitely would have, problems. However, I noticed that the newspapers have also expanded their opportunities and are now thriving at the same time. With new rises in technology, there have been more and more ways to receive information and news in addition to newspapers, such as social media and podcasts that can be accessed on multiple types of screens from everywhere in the world, even from small portable devices like tablets or phones. If we continue to expose the news to people through all means before social media, the desire for the news will continue to grow, and people will want to get to the news through as many means as they can. So both digital and paper forms will continue to thrive and dominate. Second of all, technology provides ways to bring possibilities and ideas of creators and artists to new heights. New technological ideas are like living things. It is difficult to predict when they come. It is as if the ideas have a mind of their own, and often they come when you are not waiting for them. Therefore, I find that it is efficient to record an idea electronically, and then have the chance to work for it. Newspapers and mass media also serve as perfect examples of the functionalist approach, another approach of defining pop culture by David Grazian, in which pop culture functions as the glue that holds us together. This is especially prominent in schools and colleges that have started to create their own newspapers in order to continue their school spirits. There are ASB and student-run clubs that create those newspapers and distribute them out to the public so that nobody will need to go on the web. If communities and organizations can continue to do their part in the newspaper industry in this way, the print industry will thrive. Furthermore, schools and organizations have started to create pages on all types of social media and news feeds on their very own electronic presence known as a website, which also serves as a distributor of information and then some. Sorry, a little word slip there. As I read in the article titled How Social Media is Overshadowing Traditional Newspapers Generally, Facebook users may just read a single story and then leave, but people who arrive at a news site from outside of Facebook might linger and browse for additional stories. This proves that social media kills people's thirst for knowledge, while news in all forms online fosters more curiosity. Moreover, the news is often less censored, restricted, or likely to be rejected than other forms of media, because unlike works of art, they are not used as much for selling or profit. David Grazian uses another approach to describe pop culture called the critical approach, which highlights the economic and cultural power of the mass industry, especially media such as movies, cartoons, magazine, music, and dance, to increase the profit of corporations. Therefore, the motive for most pop culture industries is money, rather than creativity, fun, and pleasure, and the well-being and happiness of others. Because of the latter, others' happiness being disregarded, and self-esteem has been ruined. For example, norms of attractiveness due to female models created by magazines has ruined the self-esteem of women. This is another reason that stereotypes exist, and the mass media has increased those stereotypes. This profits first mentality is the same reason that journalists, scientists, and artists have been rejected or excommunicated in the past and possibly the present. They did not write popular opinions that would bring in much money or even just acceptance. People in the past and present alike have been dismissive of foreign ideas they were not familiar with as well. The news, however, is reality. Yes, it can be controlled as well as other forms of popular culture, but the content is not as watered down to fit the masses in the news, because the point of the news is to communicate actual facts and events, no matter how unsettling. Excuse me. We, as a society, want our young people to be literate, thoughtful, and caring human beings. But we also attempt to control what they read, think, and care about. We feel the need to protect children from dangerous or distributing ideas and information, which brings a good point. Parents and grown-ups can be too overprotective of their children by not letting them watch rated R movies and listen to inappropriate music, even if it cannot physically hurt. However, when children get older and go out into the world, they are coming across real-life problems face to face. Therefore, exposing them to only safe, happy media will only put them into shock later. It is better not to leave them unprepared. Therefore, I am glad to say that now even they have lots of ways, both print and electronic, to access new information which has been hidden from them in the past. I am very glad to say that this is true. The young and all of us need news and education as much as ever. Let's prepare and educate our children and us all. Woo! Thanks for watching. Have a good day, everyone.